What is up, everybody? It's your friendly neighborhood investor, Patrick Curley, back again with my co-host, the legendary deal negotiator and transactional ninja, Gary Shevitz.
Make me co-host, young man.
Gary, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Just
You like
working
being
my
co-host?
butt off lately.
Yeah, it's been has it been busy for you as well? I mean, it's been
It has been insanely busy.
I feel like everybody's trying to sell their house before the season turns, you know?
I think the season already turned. It's just a new wave.
Yeah. And they're hiking up interest rates again.
Well, boy, don't get me started on that. But Jerome Powell certainly, everybody's like, with this economy. And it doesn't seem to be as big a mystery to me because we've got all this stimulus being poured into the economy under the cover of Chips and Science Act, Infrastructure Act, and inf- uh, Inflation Reduction Act. But it is pouring a ton of capex into the economy, not to mention AI, which, if it has the same impact from the internet as the internet did in the 90s, it's going to increase GDP. All of that combined is going to increase GDP. And the feds are saying GDP has to come down in order for the economy to shrink. Well, how is that going to happen when you've got all of this, stimulus happening all at the same time? So, and Yet, other indicators like the inverse yield curve is correcting itself without having an inflation. That's always been the best indicator of, recession, not inflation. Inflation is correcting itself. So it's wonky. This
Yeah.
none of the indicators they don't all agree the way they usually do. So I think the greatest economic minds of the world right now are a little, huh? What is
Right.
this? What does it mean? So
Right.
anyway, enough of that. We're here to discuss real estate.
Well, it applies to real estate, guys. And for those of you who are listening who may have gotten lost in what he was saying, in general terms, when the Fed wants to decrease inflation, they're going to increase interest rates. And so what does that mean for you guys? Well, number one, creative finance becomes a huge lever for investors because, you know, rent ready but dated homes aren't going to be sold. Basically what we're seeing now, what I'm seeing now in my markets are, retail ready homes are still selling really fast and there are buyers for them. It's the ones that aren't retail ready that are sitting on the market for quite some time. So knowing creative finance or knowing somebody who can negotiate creative finance is going to be a huge, huge tool for you. I'm also seeing like inventory, like roughly the same amount of houses that are going on market are the same amount that are being sold. So our markets that we're working in, they're pretty stable in terms of those numbers. So buyers are still begging us to be on our list and people are still buying homes. So, but in terms of, pricing and inflation in terms of the homes themselves, I don't think it's going to be going up. I think it's going to be staying relatively stable and going down because of the seasonality. So today, I didn't really have anything planned. It's been a busy week. We closed a few. We've got a couple more that we're going to be closing. What I wanted to do is kind of open it up to questions if you're cool with that, Gary.
Oh
Unless you
yeah,
had
I'm
any.
cool with that. Are you kidding? I tutor someone at 5:30 in the morning. That means I'm starting earlier than ever. So I'm at least on hour 12 or 13
Is that
here.
is that your daredevil?
Yeah, my daredevil.
Gary's
I
got
love
a
that.
Gary's got a blind realtor that he's training, guys, and I've nicknamed him lovingly Daredevil. All right, let's open it up to Q&A real fast, guys. Let me in the chat, guys. If you're new, say new. If you are coming back, like Jason Lee and Cindy, say fam in the chat, guys. Are you new? New, cool.
And don't let us not forget our regular, the small letter A.
The letter A is here. Fantastic.
Letter A is here. Lowercase a, always lowercase.
All right. So I get hit up a lot in Circle, and the most common question I get is, how do I get started? Well, that's a great question, and there's several ways that you can get started, but ideally it would be some form of wholesaling. My two favorites types of wholesale are cash wholesale deals and low equity sub twos. So in the chat, I'm going to put a couple links here: how to get started with wholesaling, how to get started with creative finance, how to build a real estate business. And then there's some scripts in there. Guys, in the chat, yes or no, who here are using scripts? Yes or no? Here's what I would say, guys. Unless you are consistently closing deals every month, you should be using a script. Okay, and I know people are going to push back on that. I have got a huge background in sales, but I built out my own scripts and would read off of them and use them as a template when I was first making calls. I don't do that anymore because it's kind of tattooed in my brain, the flow of things. What I will do is I will type the 5 pillars. Somebody in the chat type the 5 pillars for me. I'll type those out so that my conversation will flow in that sequence when I'm making calls. So I'm always hitting the 5 pillars when I'm making calls. In the chat, somebody type it out for everybody.
Who's going to be first?
All right, so who's been taking action? So Baby Elephant, wholesale number. I don't know your name. I would change your name. Instead of saying Baby Elephant, put your name in there.
Hey, look, guys, I'm going to get on my little rant here. You're here to network. You're here to meet people. You're here to get your name out to other people. If you don't have your actual name, maybe even a way to contact you, notice how I have my cell phone number in here. You're not taking advantage of the opportunity that this meeting and all of everything about this community has to offer you.
Agreed. And if you don't have a question now, you're not asking yourself the right questions. Okay, so who has a question? I'm not seeing any hands up. So let me help you with this. What is preventing you from getting a deal this week? I want you to answer that question. And in that answer, you're going to find a question for me. How many people do we have? In 23, and there's nobody with a question.
I have a question. I'm just having a hard time typing. I'm sorry. May I ask a question? Because I always seem to bother you guys with these things. I'm the only one that talks.
I'm impervious to being bothered, Cindy.
Okay. So listen, I have somebody that has a portfolio of now the reason why,
Cindy, could you turn on your video so I can spotlight?
Why do you always embarrass me? Like
I am not embarrassing you. You have all week to prepare for these meetings.
Okay.
They're not surprise meetings. You come every week. We love you for that. But you know,
Okay.
it just looks so much better.
All right.
Let's get to it.
Cindy, what's your question, sweetie?
So she's got a portfolio of these Airbnbs, and I know they're low interest. She's trying to, I didn't send you the lead sheet because she'll just have him connect with me. And I'm like, well, you need to give me more information. He's going to give me grief about it. She's ready to unload. Her parents are sick. She's sick of managing them. I sent it to you through the email. So is that okay for you to look at it?
Sure.
The one that you, yeah, just look at it. If you're interested, I don't have addresses. It's in Pine Mountain.
Okay.
You know where that is?
I don't.
It's like
California?
Yeah, it's like not, it's like a Big Bear, or like it's a small town, really strange HOA guidelines and things like that. I know she's making money on it because I talked to her, but anyway, so she's very aware of creative financing, and I just feel like I have a feeling that you can help her, to be honest. So I emailed you through the email that you sent me. You responded. I don't have your phone number. I still don't know what your number is. Do you want to text me, or can I text you to connect you to, or how does that work?
Let me take a look at the email, but
Okay.
Can you give me
I
more?
sent it to
Can you,
Patrick at replies at lead fix, right? Is that the one?
if you replied to that email, here, let me put it in the chat.
Okay,
You can just email me here.
okay. I'll give you all I got, and I think it's
So are these free and clear? Is there a note? Does she have considerable
not
equity?
free and clear. She does not, she bought them 2 years ago. I know that.
So
I
they're all
know they're extremely good interest rates.
oh, fantastic.
And yeah, she just wants out. Like literally, she's like, I'm done. I can't do this. This is us for somebody who's interested in this. I'm like, I think I got someone for you. Yeah.
Okay. Is she cash flowing? Is she making a profit? Is she breaking even? Is she losing money?
I don't think she's losing money. I think she's cash flowing for sure. I think, yeah, that I don't know that much about it, Patrick. But I kind of feel like it's worth a 10-minute, 15-minute conversation.
How many homes?
So I think she has 6.
Okay. She was just gobbling them all up at one point in time, huh?
Yeah, she really was. But she has to keep going back and forth.
Got it. Okay.
So she lives in Santa Rosa, which is near me, right? So that's off the 23. Probably takes 45 minutes to get there. Yeah, okay, so I've got your email. I'll send it over.
So I would still, in these conversations, Cindy, just as a reminder, I would still get the 5 pillars.
Okay, so I know them because I'm with her all the time.
Cool. What are they?
So
run it down.
let's answer. Timeline now. Okay, like she's ready to offload it. The reason, again, aging parents has no interest in it. So motivation, she just wants to upload it. Timeline as soon as possible. Condition, I think of all the 6, 5 of them are in great condition. 1 of them, she just fixed the roof. Occupancy, short-term rentals, and pricing, I don't know.
Okay.
So, but I've seen them personally, so they're just really cute. She's an artist, so they're like very model, and they're very cute Airbnbs, to be honest.
Cool. Shoot me an email. I'll take a look. I'll give her a call.
Okay, I'm gonna just send you her cell there. All right, thank you.
I predict Cindy's gonna have a deal really soon.
I need one, and
Right.
you're asking
And you
what's
deserve one. You're doing the work.
You're asking me what's stopping me. I need to get more organized with my business, but I'm very serious about this business. Okay, so, but I'm always on deadline. So that's my answer is I'm serious. So I need to get you leads to make quick money to learn the business from you. That is my goal.
That publishing business is crazy. You're always on deadline. You're always chasing them. Somehow you got to make it work, though.
Yeah.
You got to interweave them, probably.
Well, I'm going to have a very small residual income from there, but I really want to focus on your business, right? The investing, and they keep raising paper prices, so that's another $1,400 out of my. Do you see what I'm saying? Every 6 months, it's something. So
right.
But I will get you a deal because I need money.
I love it.
Thanks, Cindy.
She's speaking my
Mario's next up here.
Mario, what's up, man?
All right, so my question is, I'm having an issue with a property that I called on, and the MAO that I got is higher than what it's on the market for, and it's a probate. So what do you do in those situations?
Well, your numbers are probably wrong.
Celebrate if they're accurate.
Yeah, but I doubt they are. It's very, very uncommon to have an MAO higher than an asking price when it's on market. This is on market because it's a probate.
Yeah.
I think you just ran your numbers wrong.
Okay, so then I'm looking at a wrong comp then. Do you care to see look up the property?
Sure. What's the address?
It's 5742 Fallsbrook Street in Los Angeles.
5742 what?
Fallsbrook.
Fallbrook.
Street.
Fallbrook.
Falls.
I'm seeing Falls Grove. I don't see a Fallsbrook.
No, Fallsbrook. FALLS.
Oh, Falls Grove. Falls Grove. Got it.
Okay. I can bring that up on the MLS and take a look. What was the numbers again? 51,
5742.
57. Hopefully I'm logged
All right,
in.
let me share my screen. All right, let's take a look. So, okay, this is 899. So when comping, you guys can use Redfin, Zillow. I don't ever use Zillow. It's either Redfin, Privy, or PropStream.
Mhm.
I'd be surprised if this isn't already in our pipeline, by the way. But lucky for you, I don't underwrite those deals. My team does. So I'm just going to do it like I would be if I were to normally do it. So we're a 3-2 at 15, built in 47.
Yeah, they're not showing the inside until they have an offer.
Is that what this says in the agent remarks?
Yeah. Offer subject to interior inspection. But it
Yeah,
doesn't seem
no
like they want to
pictures.
show it. Yeah.
Are there any addendums?
Let me look.
So when you guys have on-market properties and you ask the agent to send you disclosures, if there's an addendum in there, generally what that is they're going to be pre-dictating terms. And so sometimes you'll have an agent who is savvy and doesn't want to wholesale the deal. So they'll specify that it's a non-assignable contract.
More common in NorCal than SoCal. I don't see anything any attachments here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's way more common in NorCal than SoCal.
So what did you think your ARV was?
1.3, 1.305.
This is a comp, but it's not retail ready. So it's definitely going to sell over 1.1.
Yeah, it's a comp that's north. Actually, I don't know if it's north or west, but it's it was sold in earlier this month at 1.305. I think past on the other side of Jefferson, I believe. Yeah, that one.
Okay, so this is retail ready. They didn't really do an open concept with it. So looking at the numbers, 1.3, this is smaller, but it's still within that 200 square foot window. So I think this is safe, given the fact that the market's going to be going down just due to seasonality. I think 1.3.
I've got another comp for you to look at.
What's the address?
3517 Enville, Enville Place. So this one sold $1.5 million. Let me see if I can get sometimes doing this helps. No, not much.
Does that have a garage?
No garage.
Looks like they converted it.
Yeah, I think so. Pretty clean.
Dated kitchen. I would go with the 1.3. So let's underwrite this real fast. Can I take over?
There's also one on the market for 124. Let's just look at that real quick. That has a garage. This is a little dated, huh? Not redone. Okay. So maybe we're good with the 1.3.
All right, I'm just gonna
take it over.
So we're at 1.3. Let me see this. This is in my way. So the asking price is 899. There's all this stuff on top of my screen. So we're going to take the asking price, paste that in there. I'm going to go bigger on this. ARV is 1.3. That's 13 million.
Yeah.
I'm going to set this to 0 for now. 83%. So All right, let's take a look at this. We don't know what's really going on with the inside. Did they tell you anything about the foundation or the roof?
So the roof hasn't been touched. Foundation, they don't know. Inside, it hasn't been touched since it was made, which was 1947.
Okay,
So it's extremely dated. And that's pretty much the only information I got. He said he just said he walked it, and it's just dated, nothing concerning. But that's just his word.
right. So if we're at 1,500 square feet, so we're at 1,505 times $60 a square foot. That's assuming there's no major issues anywhere else. We're going to be, our renovation cost will be $90,000. So we'll just put 91 in here because it's 90 with 300. So
What
91.
What price did you do for square footage?
$60 a square foot.
Okay.
But again,
Could go
it all
up.
depends.
Yeah.
This
Right.
It's going to be more than that. I can tell you right now. But this is just the start. All right. So now our MAO without our assignment fee is $988. Right. And usually what I'll do is I'll charge on points. If it's 800K and below, I charge on points, 3 points. So I would charge 3%. But because it's over that 800 mark, I'm actually going to push that number. And I'm probably going to, I would probably want to get like 40K out of this, 40 to 50K. So I'm going to set it to 40. So I think this is probably an opportunity, which is really rare, but I think what you're going to find once you walk it is problems. And I think, so is it vacant?
No, so they have an elderly tenant there. She's but they say she'll need about 3 weeks to get out. It will be delivered vacant. So what I need to call back on is ask them if they will have a set date. Because they said after we close, they would like 3 weeks for the tenant to get out, and I mentioned that we wouldn't want to do that. We would be able to extend escrow instead.
Yeah.
And they were, at first they said he just mentioned that they would want to close first. After about 10-15 minutes of talking to him, he's like, okay, we could probably do that.
Good for you, because no buyer is going to take that. Not in LA. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
I know this area very well. We close deals in this area all the time, and our buyers will not take tenants. So if it's a matter of money, you can give them money up front for cash for keys outside of escrow. That's usually what I recommend, just so that they can take that money and secure a new place. And then you also have something that is, something that you can execute on, something that's enforceable. You have a signed document. So notice here in this, I don't know if you can see this or not. Here, let me zoom in on this. No warranties, buyer to do their due diligence, satisfy themselves of all aspects of the property. Absolutely no FHA or VA financing. Seller is looking for all cash offer. So this kind of tells me that there's probably something going on with the property and they're not telling you about it. There's no
repairs if they don't want repair requests. That's right. When they FHA and VA, when they say they exclude that, it means they want an as-is cash buyer, period.
And so when it's an as-is, let's say I get into contract as an as-is, do I get like a 7-day period where I can inspect it, or it's just as-is, no inspection?
No. As is just means you're buying it as is. And by the way, all of them are as is.
Got it. Okay.
There's no seller out there wants to do anything to the property. Most of them don't. If they do want to do something to the property, they don't want to work with an investor. They want to optimize their investment and get the most amount of money possible on the MLS. So you're dealing with, generally speaking, two types of sellers. Ones that just don't want to deal with it, and they're going to ask what they want, and then those that want to actually sell to a retail buyer.
Got it.
But so yeah, you're gonna have an inspection period on this one. This is a probate though, so the obstacle with probate is that you got to make sure that you're going to perform, because every time I guess it's that there's no court confirmation, right? But they still have to go to the court, right, Gary, and say like, this is what we're doing, this is the price, and that costs
Yeah,
money.
there's always somebody looking over, even when they have full authority. There's a trustee or an attorney that's making sure everything's kosher.
My brain's
The
not
sold
firing
one.
right now, Gary. What's the phrase when they have to tell everybody that all the heirs, they got to tell all the heirs that this is the offer? What's that called again? It's like a notice of something. Anyways, what I'm trying to say here, dude, without knowing the phrase, is you want to make sure that you have a buyer lined up for this, because it will cost them money to go and get this approved. Okay, because it's a probate.
Right.
So I
And
mean,
so, okay,
if you don't perform after getting into contract on this, you're going to burn your name with this agent.
yeah.
But if you do perform, then he's going to be like, maybe this is the guy I need to send my deals to.
Yeah, and I mean, he already has another one coming up in the pipeline that's not on the market either. So, I mean, that would be great too. Okay, so I was close to that MAO. My MAO was 977. I don't know where I got short on the
You're
numbers
high.
here.
You're way too high.
Yeah, let me see. Here.
So I would go in.
Oh,
and,
I didn't take off my my fee. That's what it is.
Or your wholesale discount.
Yeah, that's what I didn't do.
we don't work for free, Mario. Come on, baby.
Yeah. I know. I did it on the other one.
Apparently
not on this one.
Mario does. Maybe we want him on your team for a while.
I do it just for the learning experience.
That's it. There you
So
go.
Mario, what
Yeah.
I would do, yeah, and by the way, I do need another body in SoCal. What I would do on this one is I would call the agent and say, just based off of flips we've done in the past, we're probably going to come in at like 949, but I need to walk it. What does access look like?
Yeah. So
You
that
know
was
what-
going to be my next conversation with them about the tenant, if they are going to have an exact date, and also what would it look like for us to be able to walk it? Is the tenant going to be okay? Because she's mentally ill.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, so I don't know. That was going to be my next conversation with him. Okay, perfect. I'm glad I got this confirmation, because I've been having a hard time being confident with my comps. And especially with this one threw me for a loop because it was over, really. Would you have time for one more, or do we have a lot of other questions?
Well, given that we're going to be doing deals together, bro, I definitely have time for more.
Perfect. I like to hear that, because I need a partner out in California, because I'm just starting off and I need somebody to take me under the wing.
Where are you located?
Orange County.
Okay, cool. So you could walk this one?
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
it's only about 50 minutes away from me.
So yeah, I'll send you email me. Do you have my email in the chat? Or hit me up on Circle.
Okay.
And then
Yeah, we already have a conversation going, so I'll just hit you up there.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll send you some
Okay.
information on exactly what you want to get when you walk the property so that we can actually dispo it properly. All right, what
Got
other
it.
property we're taking a look at?
The other one that I found was 4225 Van Buren Place.
4245
4225
25. Then can you spell it for me?
VAN space BUREN.
Wait. Sorry, can you do that one more time?
BUREN.
Oh, Van Buren. Got it.
Van Buren.
All right, what's the story on this one?
So this one, let me see here.
I love it when
Actually, I
they do
haven't
$10,000 price cuts.
What is that?
I said I love it when they do $10,000 price cuts.
This one I haven't called on yet, because I'm having a hard time with my confidence on the comps. The comp that I found
This
for
has
it,
been on the market for a while. Since June.
for 83 days, right?
Since June, yeah, beginning of June.
Yeah, this one, I don't know if this is going to be an opportunity because, like I've said before, in previous Zooms, usually if they're motivated, it'll go under contract in 14 days.
Yeah.
So they're not moving on price. And if you look at the price drop happened a couple months ago. And they
Yeah,
only
and it's
price dropped
happening.
at 10K.
Well, they started at about 940 or 960 when they first put it up on the market. They put it up a few times.
They've got a note here. So they're trying to squeeze every penny out of it because they know they've got to satisfy this mortgage. So they've got a number that they need to hit.
Got it. Okay, so for
But I mean,
this
hey,
sake
look, I'm just reading between the lines. I don't know that for sure, but I'll tell you this. What I do know is that motivated sellers, they sell within 14 days.
Yeah.
So, but let's comp this real fast.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Let's see. Interesting. I'm not seeing any 1920s in this area, just 1910s.
Yeah, that's the only one I found that was closest to it. The one on 42nd Street.
Yeah, some buyers don't want to mess around with these older buildings. Just based on the fact that it could be more work. This looks like it had a recent-ish update. The layout is horrible. Oh, that's the back.
Kind of like a railroad layout, right?
Yeah, I can't really tell what's going on here. Okay, so that's the front. I don't know why they organize their pictures like this.
Because they didn't organize them.
You got to organize. What the hell? So yeah, I mean, I'll tell you right now,
make them try to tell a story.
exactly. There's a few things I would say, like, you're gonna have buyers pushing back on this because of the layout, number one.
Yeah.
The price, number two.
So the only reason why I looked at this one is because I saw that it's zoned R2 and has a garage in the back, and I know LA is really popular with ADUs.
You don't need R2 to add an ADU.
Right.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So California is very liberal with ADUs because of the housing crisis.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything similar to this. But if we look at square footage, yeah, dude, I got one for $1 million. Let's see. This is definitely a flip.
That's the one I have, and that's the one at 1910. Built in 1910.
The problem here is that this is a craftsman home, and how you can tell is this woodwork. See all these, like, the paneling, it's just like, this is a very, very desirable style of home. And so unfortunately, you cannot use this as a comp. So
if something,
you got a craftsman here.
Yeah.
If a comp is too specialized like that, you don't want to use it.
That's correct, because I mean, this is like I said, it's a very desirable style of house.
It's called a craftsman.
Yeah, craftsman, right. And also, if you notice, like, I mean, the layout, they could still knock these walls down and open it up, but I just don't see how they're going to make it. You have to start with the end in mind, right? And you got to ask yourself, can they make this house look like the one that we're looking at? And I don't think they can.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's just not a comp. And so the next highest thing in the area is 770. So I don't know, man. I would probably skip this one.
Okay. Yeah, the only comp that I saw that was even close was that one that you just looked at, which was that Craftsman built.
Yeah. And they've got 4 beds. I'd probably, I don't know, knock a wall down and open it up.
Got it.
16. Yeah, I just don't see it, man. Let me check prop stream real fast. Sometimes there's areas where Privy doesn't have great information.
Well, SoCal is pretty much not covered well by Privy.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna go back to April. 4-3. Yeah, I'm still not seeing anything. Yeah, I don't see it, dude. Let me go back
Okay.
in time. Let's go January 23. Yeah, I'm not. You'd have to see multiple comps at $1 million for it to be worth it. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because you think about it right now, if let's say the ARV was $1 million, they got it priced at 88%, which is way too high, even if it was $1 million. So these people are completely unreasonable. They're out of their minds, in fact.
Yeah. Do you think they're probably looking at that one comp?
No, I just think they're out of their minds.
Yeah.
They're either just wanting more, or they've got a realtor that's giving them unrealistic expectations.
Yep, exactly. And that as soon as a realtor who doesn't know what they're doing or doesn't know the area, doesn't know how to comp, and believe it or not, there are realtors out there that don't know this stuff.
Well, there are also realtors that'll take a listing at any price just in case, you know.
Right, exactly. And that's another
Just let
thing.
it sit.
Well, they're hoping and praying for a unicorn buyer.
Yeah.
Somebody to come along. You never know, it might happen. You know, and it's just like
Yeah.
it's a gamble with time, and it's just a waste of time. Waste
I
of
know,
everybody's time.
I know realtors that will refuse to take listings if the customer is being unrealistic. And then there are realtors who'll take any listing they can get. They
Yep.
figure they're better off maybe making money by accident than focusing on what's real.
And it's an ego thing too. They want to have a listing, they want to project that out there. I mean, we've talked to agents
awesome.
who have like a listing agreement and they want to go on market just to go on market. Like they have a cash buyer ready to go, but they want it to be on market so that they get that notoriety. But anyways, man, I would say that one's definitely not a deal, but the other one, I would walk it if I were you. I mean, first pitch them on price, see if you're close, see if that's something that'll work for the seller. I would give them their ask, by the way. Say, okay, I'll give you your ask. And then go in and walk it. And then you're probably gonna have to work them on price after that.
Got it. Okay, awesome.
If you can get a contract, that's the best way to do it. Like I'll tell agents, like if we don't have a contract, we can't walk it.
Yeah.
Like I can't pull one of my guys off my jobs in order to go walk this property if we don't know we're even close on price. So we got to be close. And if they're going to write it up for you, then okay, cool. This is a good situation for me. I doubt that they're going to write it up for you because it's a probate, but they might.
No, he's going to have one of his other agents in the same brokerage write it up for me.
Yep, perfect. That's just almost as good.
Yeah. And then, okay, before I go, I know that you use Jamil's like comping rules. And one of the things that I had a question about is one of the things that he does is figures out the price per square footage of the ARV and then moves that over to the subject property. Do you do that here in SoCal?
If we need to, if there aren't enough comps, I'll do that. But generally we're in primary markets. We don't really work in like tertiary markets, so we don't do that very often. But yeah, I would say that you could do that as long as that price doesn't go over the top of the market in terms of what has already sold. So let's say, for example, you've got a 2,400 square foot house and your comp is 1,800 square feet and the comp sold for like $1.5 million. But if you run the numbers, your subject price goes up to like $1.8 million. I'm not gonna use that 1.8. I'm gonna use the 1.5 and I'm gonna match the market. Does that make sense?
So Yeah, I had that question because one of the other ways that I comped that property was in that way, and it went from 1.3 to 1.45.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do it that way because you also have to respect the house and like what kind of house it is. Like when we're speaking with our buyers, they're very detail oriented on the layout, where it's located, like every little thing. They're putting themselves in the buyer's shoes because at the end of the day, is it going to sell or not? And for what price, right? Like you have to consider the actual house itself, not just square foot number, like price per square foot, because you're always going to be overbidding at that point.
Well, there's
Yeah.
something else you need to understand about price per square foot. That as the size of the house goes up, the per square foot price goes down. So you got to be careful on how you translate that. If you're using it to adjust for size of house, you can get yourself into big trouble that way.
Okay.
Okay. So that's
Okay.
It can work pretty well if, like, as Patrick says, if I were comparing one craftsman to another, yeah, then, very like for like houses. But if the house that you're comping is way smaller than the house you're trying to apply the per square foot, you got to bring that per square foot price down. So be careful
Okay.
when you're using that. Don't make enormous adjustments using that method.
Right.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Got it.
All right.
Awesome. All right, Patrick.
So-
I'll hit you up.
Jeff is next, and Damien. Jeff, can you turn on your video?
Yeah, hi guys. Can you see me?
He's got it. All right. He was hiding from us, but
Yeah. So I have two questions. Hopefully they're brief, but the one question is, I guess for the lead submission form, what is the typical, I guess, turnaround time, like from submission to like hearing a response back, or like just the general process of that? And then the other question I had was about expired listings. I think you guys touched on it last Zoom, but if you could just briefly go through it, if there's a way to sort of track that and how you go about finding expired listings, like what the best method you found is.
Did you submit a deal to the pipeline?
I might have last week, to be honest. I can't remember if I did or not.
I'll go through it today. Actually, I got a meeting with Mike. I don't know if he's in here or not, but I'll go through today and I'll respond to you.
Okay.
And so to answer your question, because I didn't answer your question, did I? We've just been really busy right now. I'm bringing on Mike to help build out a team just with creative stuff. So the response time will be a lot faster.
Okay.
Cool. And then, so you had a question about expired listings. What was the question?
Yeah, so I'm just starting to dabble in that sort of I guess method of tracking and finding leads. I haven't really found a way to do it other than using PropStream, like their failed listings, and I don't know if that's very accurate. I was just curious if there was a better way that you're using to sort of go about that.
MLS data.
And
You
how
know,
do
the problem with PropStream is that the MLS data is not very great.
Yeah.
it's
I mean, that's
not very great. It sucks.
it's pretty horrible. I guess I was being nice,
Let's
wasn't I?
call it what it is. It sucks.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. From like the last time I looked, it's like 30% accurate. So there's like, if you got 100 leads, 70 of them are on market and they don't show on market.
Mhm.
So basically we'll take MLS data. Mike is actually going around right now and making contact with agents in different states that we're going to be working in to get MLS data. And then we take that information and we plug it into PropStream that has public records.
Yeah.
And then we cross-reference the two based on parcel numbers to see what the mortgage and transaction history looks like. And then we call on those opportunities. So let me put this in the chat, guys. If you haven't watched this yet, getting started with creative financing, I'll put it in the chat for you guys, but I go over that, how we do it in that video. Take a look. But essentially,
I got a pop quiz for you, Patrick. How do you say Mike's last name?
I still haven't figured it out. I was gonna make a joke.
Don't goof it up. Don't goof it up.
Mike, can you please give me some assistance here?
You can't say his last name yet.
Matthias.
Still you can't.
Matthias.
Fail.
I need like a what are those?
You,
What
you
are
need
they
it spelled
called?
phonetically. You
Yeah,
gotta
the phonetics.
post
I
it
need the
phonetically
phonetics.
on your, yeah.
You
I'll
need to
write
put
it out
the
for you.
I want to stamp it on his forehead.
I'll
Make him
just spell
look
it
in
phonetically in my Zoom.
reverse. So
Matthias?
when he looks in the
Matthias.
mirror,
Matthias, right? Matthias.
Yeah,
Got it.
that's it.
yay.
I'm not gonna forget it. Shit, now I forgot what we're talking about. Oh, low equity.
You're talking about expired listings and
Fire listings, right? So basically, like a loan to value ratio that we're looking at, generally speaking, is like, 80% loan to value is usually what we're looking at. Okay, so that's once you have that, then you can dial it in, right? Like, so for me specifically, I'm interested in single family homes. I don't really want to deal with HOAs. I want flexibility. I don't like people telling me what to do. So single family homes that have that loan to value, those really are what we're targeting. And so to give you more, like what I'm looking at in terms of a good deal is like a 10% entry fee. So if I've got an agent involved or a cash to seller, arrears, closing costs, renovation, all of that, hopefully it's around that 10% mark of ARV. So if I've got a home retail ready and it's worth $500,000, I want to be paying $50K max to get into the deal. So assignment, everything that needs to get paid for. Okay. And the other criteria that's really important is that it cash flows. If it's in California, I might take it. If it breaks even, I might take it anywhere actually if it breaks even in the first year, just because I've got a little bit higher risk tolerance than most people, but I want to be making money in year 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so when people bring me stuff, like they'll bring me an opportunity and they're like, oh, check this out. It'll make a great Airbnb, but it loses money as a long-term rental. I'll just respond. I don't care what it makes as an Airbnb. I really don't. Because you have more flexibility if it cash flows as a long-term rental.
Right. So I guess the short answer, just to clarify on finding expired leads, is that there's no easy way at the moment. You need access through MLS through an agent, right?
There is no easy way, my friend. However,
And even if somebody pulls expired listings, it could be relisted within a day or two. So
okay, right.
Mike Matthias is going to be
Matthias. Stop it. Now you're just getting it wrong on purpose.
Matthias. He's going to be we're basically going to be onboarding you guys into our team if you're interested in joining our team. That is, you guys can go at this alone, but trust me, it's easier when you're on a team. So we're going to have a dashboard where you guys can log into. We'll give you guys lists. We'll give you scripts. It's just been taking some time for us to build all this out, but eventually you won't have to be, reaching out to agents. We'll do that for you guys.
Nice. Great. Thanks.
But yeah, I mean, today, guys, like if you wanted to take action, open PropStream, take a look at low equity properties that have been on the market, are on the market, and call on them. Use what's that skip tracing service that's free? fastpeoplesearch.com for expired listings. And then if it's on market in over 60 to 90 days, then just call the agent and have that conversation. Cool.
All right,
Thanks.
Damien, and then Cindy.
Good evening, guys. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Great.
Good, good.
Awesome.
So I am brand new into this stuff. Maybe like 3 days. I've been into investing, wanted to do real estate for a long time. About like 3 days where I found out what creative financing was, and I think it's sick, super cool. Currently in the military, so obviously I don't have as high source of income to like start real estate. So I found out creative real estate like super interesting. Just getting started. I already saved the links you guys have already posted to learn everything, and I'm trying to gather as much knowledge as I can. What's like I don't know how long I need to like be doing this before I can start taking those first steps. I've seen some of Pace's videos, and it's like make an LLC, start a bank account for like make your own company, and that makes me nervous, right? Because I'm just like, I'm a little guy out here, make my own company, like I just want to do my thing.
No. Yeah, what I would say is don't worry about that right now. What you need to worry about is making money. right? And so when you position with one of us, one of the elephant leaders, we have all that stuff set up. We have an LLC, we have our paperwork together, we've got money, we've got cash, so it's easy. It's going to be easier and quicker for you to align yourself with an elephant leader in terms of making money in real estate. And then if you want to go off and do your own thing, I'm the kind of guy who will help you do that if that's what you really want to do. And that at that point, once you start making consistent money, then you go get an LLC, then you consider building a team or joining another one or whatever. But in the beginning, you gotta align yourself with people who are already closing deals. That's what I did when I first started.
Okay. So again, it's the first meeting. I'll definitely be these meetings more. I'm just kind of like bouncing around, joining all the things, connecting with as many people as I can, especially on the Facebook page where I put a few posts in there talking to people. So in terms of like my next step, I guess would be to like join your guys' group, because that's what I want to do. Like I don't want to start my own thing yet. I want to be under people. I want to have somebody who's gonna teach me the ways. Is how I learn better. I'm not very good at reading books and taking in knowledge in that sort of way. What's like the next after I like learn all that stuff? How do I get into like the system, I guess?
Well, keep showing up to these meetings. Mike and I were working hard on building out our onboarding so that you guys can enter into the group. There will be some criteria that you'll have to meet in terms of qualifying, in terms of commitment, bandwidth, so on and so forth. But if you scroll up, I posted 3 videos. Watch those videos. They're really well organized. We go over some very important points about wholesaling, about creative finance, and just about structuring your work week in those videos. So take a look at those and then keep showing up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Back to Cindy.
Okay, I got a question for you. Can you pull up something and tell me, I've been driving around Thousand Oaks and I know Mike Matthias, you live out there, baby, so you know what I'm talking about.
I'm
So
in
if you
TL right
pull
now.
this up, I said it right, but pull this up for me, 3185 Royal Oaks Drive. Now, that area was a scary dump, and now you can see a bunch of real estate agents and investors are in there, but there's like 2 or 3 or I have like 5 homes. 3185 Royal Oaks Drive, Thousand Oaks 91360. If you can pull it up and share your screen, you'll see like a divey home in the middle of, and then that one, but next to it you'll see something next to it that someone built it up, and there's investors there. But what would you do? Like, I think I found the guy's name. You said fastpeoplesearch.com. Let me see this one, because I don't know if this.
People search fast.
Are you going direct to seller on this? Is that what
I don't know. I wanted to ask you, like, I can't tell you, but every time I drive this area, my gut's telling me there's like 3250 Royal Oaks, 3260, 3212. There's very small houses in the middle of nowhere. They're 2-bedroom, 1 bath. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about this.
I've closed one in this area.
Well, have you? Because it's a really, gosh, I could just live there, man. I just want to do something and live somewhere. But it's not a bad area anymore where it used to be. So what would you do? Just looking at this, knowing that there's houses here, you would look to see if there's see Charles Tureks. It's occupied, non-owner occupied. So the guy's obviously renting it, right?
Yeah, I think this is in a trust. But yeah, I mean,
okay.
That doesn't change anything.
Okay, so just tell me what you would do. Like this house, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You'll get dump, then you see a nice house, dump, nice house.
Half acre.
In there.
That's a half acre. That one's on a half acre.
It's a beautiful area. There's oaks.
Yeah.
High fire risk.
No.
Yes.
There's too much street. No, there's no fires there. The North Ranch was my area.
I love
Who I sell to in North Ranch, that was destroyed. These guys weren't touched.
I love it when people argue with you, Gary.
All right, Gary, why is this a fire risk?
Look at all the trees.
but there's too much concrete in between them.
All right, we're getting off topic here.
Okay.
So what would I do? That was your question, right?
Yeah, and there's another one right next to it, 3250.
Hey, Charles, this is Cindy. I'm calling because I was actually walking down Royal Oaks Drive and I noticed that this house needs a little bit of love. I actually just purchased a property down the street and we're going to be renovating it. That's what I do for a living. I'm just curious, would you be interested in selling this property? I'll let him talk.
Okay. You know, people
when it's direct to seller, I always use that same line that I was walking down the street and I noticed that this house might need a little bit of love.
And I was actually, I'll walk that area because it's such a pretty area. You actually did buy something there, right? Did you buy it for rental or what did you buy it for?
No, it was a wholesale deal.
Oh, love it. It's a really nice area. I'm telling you, it's probably the last vestige that you can probably get into there. That's under $1 million. All right. So you're saying,
if you do get one of these under contract, these are the biggest home runs that we have on our team when they're off market.
yeah, there's a lot. You got a lot of Ventura, by the way. I think something Lee is on the phone. I mean, I'll drive it just because there's so many shacks in the middle of nowhere. And then you have something nice. So it's fastpeoplesearch.com to find his.
Or True People Search.
Yep.
True People. Okay.
I like that one myself.
And if it's owner occupied, that's even better or not better? It doesn't matter.
Not as good, no, but it's still doable.
Okay.
But I mean, it just depends on, this is probably going to be a cash deal anyways, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
We'll just find some. This guy has 4 properties, by the way.
And where are you in PropStream?
Yep.
Yeah.
It looks like it's all in a trust.
Oh, Havasu.
There's 3 houses, 2 in Arizona, 1 in California, and then there's a condo in Laguna Hills.
That's probably where he lives.
Maybe.
He's probably lying about where he lives. Okay. And then the last question was, there's a really dumpy house that is an auction. Do you guys ever buy auction deals?
Nope.
Never? Not
Never.
even if it's like you buy it for 300,000 and you can
You
rent it out for
know,
$1 million?
well, you have to show up at the auction.
Yeah, I'll
with
show up. I'll go
with
with you guys.
cashier's checks in your hand.
Yeah, I know.
The reason that I don't do that is I don't flip properties. I wholesale. Right. So I'm
Wouldn't you
focused.
fix it up and long term it? Well, okay. I
If
hear you.
the numbers are right, but
That's
I
a
want
Burr strategy.
yeah,
Well,
and creative
okay.
finance is for me is a bigger opportunity because it's a lower price point. I can borrow that low price point, and then it shows up,
You mean entry fee?
Entry fee. Excuse me.
Oh.
Right. So for me, it just makes more sense. Could I? Sure. I could come up with the cash, but then I'm focusing on something that I'm not currently doing. And that slows what I'm currently doing down. And I will lose money in the long run by doing that.
Okay.
All right, Patrick, try to stick to butchering names rather than terms, okay? You'll confuse them all.
I think
all right.
Dina Burrow. Did I get that?
All right. Thanks, Cindy.
Yes, you did.
You're amazing.
Thank you for arguing with Gary, Cindy. Dina
It's my
Burrow.
pleasure.
I go by Dina.
Oh no, wait, you brought Louisa up.
All right,
Oh.
sorry. I just
Louisa, hold on, we'll
went
come
for
back
the- I went for the hand.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I
Where's
just put my
Dina?
hand down. Yeah,
There's
I'm right
Dina.
here. This is my second.
They're making me
oh.
chase you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. It's
I
my
was just gonna-
second time being in your group. And I'm actually live in San Diego, but I've been talking to realtors in Vegas. That's where I was. Is Vegas one of your areas if I want to put a lead in for you?
Yes, it is. Hold on one
Okay.
second. I'll actually copy and paste the areas that I'm buying
Okay.
right now for you guys.
Okay.
But yes, 100%. I got a friend actually who's moving out that way, and I just helped him move.
Oh,
Here.
wonderful. Yeah.
These are all the cities that I'm purchasing.
Oh, great. Okay. Thank you. And I just got get my offer. And when you were talking, I know you have Mike coming on. So if I turn in a lead, because I'm getting all sorts of leads, actually, I add I listened to you guys last time and you gave me those few little, I don't know exactly what to say to take it to the next step for the seller finance.
Yeah.
And so is it taking a week to hear back from you, or is that what you were saying right now?
Right now it's going to be a faster process. Mike and I were going to be meeting after this meeting actually just to talk about that a little bit. But have you already submitted a deal?
Not yet. No, I was just trying to get the
Get it in there soon.
Oh yes, I will. I will.
We'll take a
I'm
look.
just curious because I started my W-2 job. And
Okay.
so I'm, like I'm not available until 4:30. So I'm just curious. What do you email me back? Yeah, because I am gonna turn one in.
You'll get
Okay.
an email.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so just under a week basically is
Basically, yeah.
okay.
And so
Thank you.
what I would say, just to give you something, guys, we want to make sure that we are submitting qualified leads. And what is a qualified lead? Well, they understand, generally speaking, the structure. Like if it's a sub 2, for example, you've had a conversation with them, they're motivated, they're open to the idea of us assuming their loan and paying out equity. If that's the case, fantastic, that's a lead. And then I can close it.
Love
So
it.
I had another student who are not a student, they're just a baby elephant. They brought me a lead. They didn't give me the 5 pillars. They didn't really have the motivation, right? They didn't have that information. And it was just kind of like messy the way that they submitted it. I immediately disqualified it, right? Just based on the fact that I don't have enough to take to make a phone call. I'm not going to make a phone call on that because I don't have the 5 pillars.
Got it. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Do the groundwork.
Do the groundwork.
All right, Louisa, welcome back.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Haven't seen you for a while. Well, actually, I was been always on the road. Yeah.
Hey, you had a question earlier in the chat, and I didn't get to respond to it about an ADU.
Yes, that's my question.
It really depends. So, like your question, what was? Just give me detail on what your question.
Okay, so this it's probably going to be a foreclosure property, and they actually are selling on MLS now. And it's on the SoCal House Center Heights. It's about 500,000. The asking is, but it's 900 square feet only, 2 bed, 1 bath. However, the lot around there is about 8,000 square feet, so it's actually quite large. So my friends and my partner was thinking, okay, what we can do is add 2 ADU, convert 1 car garage to become an ADU, and add another ADU. So, but when I'm looking at the comps around, I don't see anything that's more than 900,000. So I don't know whether adding 2 ADU would boost up the price from 500K to 900.
What's your exit strategy?
Well, it's to flip.
Okay, are you going to wholesale it, or are you going to flip it yourself?
We're gonna flip it together actually. So
Have you
we're
flipped a home
gonna
before?
no, but so I'm gonna be one of the money person basically. So yeah.
Okay.
So, but my partner actually he renovated. I think he's done at least 7 projects already. So I'm just thinking that he might be too aggressive with his comp. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think what you need to do before you even do that is have him provide you with all his flips that he's done in the past. And then you check to see how much money they sold for and how much he bought it on public record. And any other information pertaining to the flip, how long it took, and what costs were associated to those flips.
Okay.
I mean, you got to look at this. So first of all, like, you can do whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But if it were me, I wouldn't flip. I would get good at doing wholesale first. Because if you get good at wholesale and you're doing at least 1 contract a month, I can guarantee you're probably going to be pretty good at underwriting deals. Okay, now back to this.
Okay.
With ADUs, there is no like formula for value. You can't do it on square footage either. You have to find a comp. You got to find a comp with an ADU. And if you can't find one, don't do it. Don't do the deal. Okay. But again, if it were me, I would not do that. You know what I see a lot in the mentorship and with new investors is they struggle to make money in wholesale. And they're like, man, I'm just not making 6 figures a year. I just can't close a deal every month. And you know what they say? I bet if I flipped a property, I'd make more money. Maybe that's what I should do. And then they flip a property and they lose money on it. Right.
Mm,
And they tie up a
okay.
bunch of cash.
If you don't know what you're doing with flipping, it's
Don't do it.
not,
Yeah.
you can lose a lot of money. Thing about buying to add ADUs is it increases your
Mhm.
cycle time, because
Right.
now you got to get
Mhm.
permits and plans. And I posted a website link in the chat that can help you speed up your ADU process,
Right.
especially if you can use a prefab ADU. But still, you're
Mhm.
increasing the amount of time you're going to be doing that project. So you got
Yeah.
to make sure that you're increasing the value by enough to make that worth it,
Okay.
because you're maybe turning a 3 or 4 month project into a 6 or 12-month project. It just
Yeah.
depends on the locality. And then how are you financing it, and what's your cost of money? Because that additional hold time can be significantly expensive.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Understand. Got it. Yeah, totally. Because I was just like, since my wholesale business hasn't picked up yet, so I was thinking maybe I can do a little flip with just like partnering and get some other cash on the side. But yeah, you're right, Patrick. I probably
mistake.
should go for it. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so doing a little
Thank you.
flip when you're trying to wholesale is kind of like doing the New York Marathon when you're trying to jog. Okay.
Okay. All right.
All
Got
right.
it. Thank you.
It's an
All right, thank
order
you.
of magnitude bigger than you think. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you, Luis. So good
Thank
to see
you.
you
Thank you.
again.
Yeah.
All right, Damien, go for it.
Thank you for taking me again. So I'm waiting for this guy to get back to me. Again, I'm very new. I'm sorry. This is like a dumb question, whatever it may be. It sounds like he wants me to be a Gator lender. He just messaged me on Facebook after I got into the Facebook place for the Pace Morby one. He messaged me on Facebook. He gave me like an agreement of like a loan agreement. Basically, I'd give him $2,000 on the sale of the house. It says, but I'm not sure if this is a scam. Again, like I'm very new to this. I don't know how to
Are you the borrower or the lender here?
I would be the lender.
If you don't know what you're doing, stay away from that.
Don't do
Okay.
that. That sounds like a scam to me.
All right, that's what I thought.
Do
Take
not
a
do
screenshot
that.
of that and send it to me on Circle.
If you join Pace's Gator mentorship and you do the training and then you feel comfortable, okay, but do not do that without being well grounded in what the risks are and how to protect yourself.
Guys, just be aware that there are scam artists out there soliciting money and using the Gator lending community as leverage to do that.
Or claiming to be sub-2 students when they're not.
I don't do transactional lending. Well, I had one deal that I might have done it with, but I just don't do it. We don't fund our deals because we cycle them so fast. Like we get our contracts are signed in 48 hours because I've got a team, right? Like, so I don't need transactional funding. Like, I'm not saying don't get into that, but if you're going to get into it, learn it and focus just on that and be the best at it, right? You guys got to make a decision. You got to focus on one thing and get into that, right?
So how do you want me to send this to you?
Just take a screenshot and then send it to me on Circle inside of the app.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I'll just make sure that this guy's not trying to scam other people.
Yeah, good idea. Thank you, Patrick.
Yep.
Anybody else here? Kind of a slow Monday. Well, it's the last week before Labor Day. It's,
Oh yeah, I'm going to Sonoma this coming weekend.
So are we gonna be on next Monday? That's a good question to ask. Are you gonna be, should we cancel next Monday's?
Yeah, I think most people will be out, right?
Right, we've still got this Wednesday, hump day. But why don't I just mark next Monday canceled?
Yep.
Is there anybody here that's gonna be horribly disappointed with that?
All of them.
I will be extremely, I will be very disappointed.
What's
I will
with
be
my
working.
camera? My camera's just blurring out.
All right, guys. So how can we help you guys get your next deal? Who's got questions? We've got a little bit more time here. Guys, when you come to these meetings, be prepared.
Danielle raised her hand. Let's bring
I
Danielle
think I
up.
remember Danielle from one of our other meetings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi.
So my question is, because I'm fairly new as well, when would you choose a sub 2 over a wrap? And why would you, I'm not quite understanding the difference because they kind of feel the same. But from something that I heard from another mentor, he was kind of explaining that the debt to income ratio, it makes a difference on that end. And he was talking about a mirror wrap.
Gary, do you want to break down the transactions and then I can give them my opinion?
Well, look, this is what I say. People, when they can't make a deal out of anything, they always go to a wrap with a creative deal. And here are the challenges. Number one, what's your plan if your buyer stops paying? How do you have liquidity to cover that loan for a year while you evict them, foreclose on them?
What kind of state are you in? Is it a red
Right.
state?
Well,
if it's Texas, then it's probably a lot less risky than California, for example.
actually, Texas is a nightmare with wraps. They've had so much abuses with them, people using them to do what's called equity skimming, that Texas actually has some of the strictest laws around wraps in anywhere of all states in the nation. So make sure you understand the laws in the state. And that it has nothing to do with red and blue here. That could be a bloody mess,
Evictions are easier in Texas than California. That's the simple way of putting it.
Well, okay, so tenant protection laws, which is veering off the topic of wraps, which has nothing to do with wraps. Tenant protection laws tend to be stronger in the blue states where homelessness is a bigger problem. But I'm betting very soon that given the homeless problem that Arizona is experiencing, especially in the Phoenix metro area, that we're going to see tenant protection laws creeping into those states. It's inevitable. Otherwise, the homeless population keeps growing and growing. That's why it's really serious tenant protection in Los Angeles versus other parts of the state, because LA has the biggest problem in the country, or one of them, like New York City. Again, they don't want these people ending up on the streets, and none of us should. It's not good for us to end up with tons of homeless people living on the streets. The other thing with wraps is finding a buyer can take a long time. Especially, all I'm going to say from my experience in helping people with transactions, the wraps work best in B2C neighborhoods with properties at or below the median price for that area. That's kind of the sweet spot. If you start doing it on pricier houses, you're going to be sitting and holding those properties until you find your wrap buyer. Everybody thinks, oh, it's a wrap, I'll sell it in no time, even though it sat on the market for 6 months and no one was buying it on the MLS. They think somehow, by some miracle, they're going to be able to find that buyer where the MLS couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And unless you have an extremely favorable interest rate, you could be holding it forever. But number one, make sure you have a plan if your wrap buyer stops paying.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? Screw your seller, or you're going to cover it? You set out to make money on it. Who should be taking care of that problem? Okay, Patrick, I've said enough. Go for it.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything that he said. And I feel like, so, in terms of underwriting wise, like if you're looking at it, a sub 2's got a cash flow as a long-term rental, right? Or break even for most people to want it as an investment. If it's having trouble cash flowing, then a wrap generally is like your next exit strategy, because you can just associate another layer of interest on top of that payment to make some money out of it. But for me personally, like, I want to acquire assets. I don't want to sell them, right? So for me, again, it depends on your buyer. If you're thinking for yourself, then you have to know what kind of risk tolerance do you have, just like Gary said. So I don't want to have to deal with that. Most wrap buyers will default. It's just statistics, right? Like, they don't qualify for a loan, and that's why they're purchasing this one, and eventually they're going to default. And some investors, like I've seen some investors where they're counting on that. That's their exit strategy, that they're going to default and they're ready for it. And they continuously get that initial down payment and then payments over time. But again, it comes down to risk tolerance and knowing your buyer. So for me personally, if it doesn't cash flow as a long-term rental, I'm not very interested in it. And I want somebody else to do the work at that point. Like somebody else take it, somebody else dispo it. I'd rather pay somebody to deal with that than lose my time dealing with it. So that's just my personal opinion.
By the way, notes are assets. And if it's done right, it's a great investing strategy. You can sell them, and there's ways to sell parts of them to split them up. So, but that is another discipline. It's another knowledge area. It's a different focus. I think that if people want to get into that, it's a great thing to get into. There are people that focus only on doing that, but they're very smart and they got deep pockets.
Yeah,
So
I would say
they're able to cover it.
I would say find something that's generating money for you consistently. And if you're thinking about acquiring a wrap for yourself, like as an investment, I would wait till you're liquid and you have that risk tolerance to do so.
Well, I kind of understand why he said that as soon as you said, how are you going to find a buyer? Because I have a very different model, and I'm sure you hear that a lot. However, they went under contract today with somebody else, but we found a property. I'm in Atlanta. It was $650, and we offered $650 because I take properties. I have 20 years of brain and spinal cord injury experience, and I've been taking properties, making them handicap accessible, and then renting them to people in town for therapy or people who are waiting for their houses to be built. So I'm collecting directly from workman's comp. So this property for me, I was going to turn it into basically a triplex and can cash flow $12,000 to $16,000 a month on it. They have $200,000 of equity. And so he was telling me to take their loan with a lower interest rate, that I should try to wrap it on my end because I was going to keep the property forever anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't just sub to it.
Well,
I
I try to stay away from naked sub twos. In other words, I try to use an AITD to secure the original borrower in a sub two, because otherwise they are just left swinging, and the only standing they have is to go sue the person who bought it from them. Rather, they have no standing to foreclose. So I kind of like using AITDs to secure those sellers.
For everybody listening, Gary, do you want to break down an AITD?
Yeah, all-inclusive trust deed. I'm sure Danielle knows what that is. That's the wrap. That is the wraparound mortgage. So when we're talking about a wrap, we're talking about an all-inclusive trust deed. That is the security instrument. I know we're getting into super high level stuff here, Danielle. It sounds like you're a more advanced investor than the average person already. So I hope you're here to make good connections and share knowledge.
I haven't done anything on the creative side, so I'm learning about that and learning I can expand a whole lot faster if I can get into that. The way he explained it on my wrap end was it was a debt to income thing where the buyer did not want to do sub 2 because they didn't want to go in. And I don't know the rules about, is it 12 months at 75% and then 100% after? There's a huge storm here. If you can hear me.
It really depends on the lender and the lending climate. So I wouldn't bet anything in this climate where money is super tight now. The interest rates have ticked up because treasury bills have increased in value. Their yields have gone up. So the money is going that way and not into mortgages. It's supply and demand. It's a money supply, money demand. And right now, I would think that the underwriting is going to be tight and a little stingy. When money is flowing and it's loose, then everybody's competing to try to get loans. It's a more forgiving environment in general. But we have a student who I think is just unbelievable with his knowledge. His name is Matt Bell. He's in the sub-2 community. And, you know, he and I see eye to eye on this. We don't want to tell people that you're going to be able to clear your DTI. Some lenders absolutely will not clear it. Others will. We can't make promises like that.
Seen MLO?
Promise the specific things will happen in the future. We just can't.
Yeah. What I would also recommend if this is a strategy that you're going to be considering for your business model is finding a mortgage loan originator that knows what they're doing, just so you can have those conversations with them and loop them in the conversation. I've got somebody in California that I really like working with. Is Matt Bell a MLO, Gary?
Yeah. He's building out a nationwide practice just to serve the sub-2 community.
Well, that's definitely something I'm gonna
finance. Yeah, plus he's so freaking knowledgeable. You know, we have rock stars in our community. You're getting to interact with a couple of them right now, but not everybody's a rock star. Most of the people in our community are really good people. We have very few bad apples. It's amazes. I mean, we do have them. I'm not going to pretend we don't, but we have some amazingly smart and generous people in our community. And that's why I love the sub-2 community, and I'll always support it.
Love it. Well, Danielle, thanks for hanging out with us.
Anything else,
I
Danielle?
appreciate everything I'm learning from you guys. Well, you know, I'm also hearing the burr thing is not a good way to go, and I don't understand that, but I think that's what I'm doing.
20 people make a lot of money doing burr. So, and including people like Pace Morby and Jerry Norton. And, you know, I think that when you open your wallet, you want to have 5s, 10s, 20s, 50s, 100s, you know, as many of them as you can. When you open your portfolio, you want to have numerous strategies that you can employ and use the one that's appropriate for the circumstance and the property you're looking at. I don't say, you know, the one thing that scares me with people are people engaging in wraps when they don't have the liquidity. But I think all of the methods, why would you say I'm not going to do a burr when a burr is the perfect solution for a particular property you have? I don't think people should think like that. People get very one track. Oh, creative, everything, and everything looks creative. Then they'll, oh, they got a 3% mortgage. The house is worth 700, and there's 250 left on the mortgage. Is that a good deal? You might as well do a burr, right? Burr would be, you know, because, well, your entry fee is going to be 500. There's $500,000 worth of equity, unless you can convince the seller to finance that to you, just because the seller's willing to let you take over the 250. Should you? No, you have to ask those questions. And new investors, they get very focused. A lot of people, especially coming into sub-2, they want that sub-2 deal so bad. Everything starts looking like a sub-2 deal. Just like the hammer and the nail story, you know. Right. So you got to avoid that. You got to be critical investor. Don't fall in love with the properties. You know that, Danielle. Don't fall in love with your property.
I was so in love with that one today. So in love with it.
They are.
I could turn it into 3 like solid, like.
Well, you're a developer. That's your vision.
So good.
That's okay. Can you make it work?
It's going to be tough. This one had a 20 by 40 foot warehouse on it that I could turn into a therapy gym and a pool house. And I'm pretty bummed about it, but they're just the one, like what I'm doing is the properties are kind of hard to come by because I have to make them handicap accessible, and that has to work.
Well, you're into the development side of it. So that's, you know, I'm glad you know what you're doing with that, because that you can do extremely well developing out properties. I love that part of it too. I haven't been able to do much of that lately. I'm a little too busy, so. But I get it totally. All right. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm going to keep learning. I just, I really need the foundations down, and I've done things one way for so long and kind of just didn't realize there were other ways to do it.
Okay, cool. Well, we have had another really good session, Patrick, wouldn't you say?
I would say that is correct. I had
An
fun.
hour and a half and the caffeine is just kicking in. I didn't swallow it soon enough.
Yep.
One last time, how do you say Mike's last name?
Matthias.
Oh my gosh. You got it right, Mike. Unbelievable.
Matthias.
We gotta drill him tomorrow on it. Okay.
I was
Can't
sweating.
believe it. Unbelievable.
I was sweating on that one.
All right.
We will
Okay,
see you
guys. Are
Tuesday.
we good?
We're good. Thanks for
All right.
coming, guys.
We're
Thank you,
not
everyone.
going to be here next Monday, but we will be here Wednesday. So come join us on Wednesday, same bat time, same bat channel. All right. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.